18 mm RB0, hydraulics and pneumatics. Right, so now we are going to see the properties and laws of fluids. This is a basic part. It's a preliminary things. So we are going to see. Right, so the main properties of air. The air, it should be the elastic, so it ends compressible, non-viscous, hence free flowing, non-sticky, so air won't stick in any surfaces, non-polluting, freely available. These are some of the important properties of air. Important properties of air. The properties of hydraulic fluids, one is the oxidation stability. So fluids resistance to heat induced degradation caused by the chemical reaction with the oxygen. So one of the, it should be the oxidation stability, right? So oxidation greatly reduces the life of fluid, leaving byproducts such as sludges and varnish. So oxidation may it will affect the life of fluid. So it will create the sludges or varnish. The next important property is wear resistance. So hydraulic fluid should have good wear resistance. It is a lubricant's ability to reduce the wear rate in frictional boundary contacts. So generally, if you use hydraulic system, the wear will occur. So the fluid should be the good wear resistance. This is achieved when the fluid form of productive forms films on metal surface to prevent abrasion, softening, and contact fatigue on compound surface. So in order to avoid wear, we use the components, the coating of components. So what are the components we are going to use? We apply some coating to that particular component. So the coated components will reduce the wear. Will reduce. So again, so remember this basics and facts. So energy can neither be generated nor destroyed. This is you know that we can neither generate nor destroy energy. What we can do is transform energy from one form to other as per the requirement. So total energy in the world always remains the same. So this is a very initial. We all know that. So hydraulic is one of the drives which is selected based on its salient features whenever found suitable and more efficient. So hydraulics can be selected whenever we require. There are only two basic motion in the world. One is a linear, another one is a rotary. So fluid power is a subject which covers the hydraulics and pneumatics both. For the sub branches of hydraulics done with the two areas. One is hydrostatics, so steady state. Another one is hydrodynamics. So if the fluid is in motion, then we say it's hydrodynamics. The total energy content in the fluid is made up of summation of three energy called potential, kinetic, and static pressure energy. There is no pure hydrostatic and hydrodynamic system available. However, major part of this energy is considered to decide type of hydraulic system. All high pressure hydraulic systems are considered under hydrostatic as major part of the energy present in the form of static pressure energy. Right. So this is we already know that. So energy can be created or generated, destroyed. So hydraulic is one of the sources. The motion is, it may be the linear, it may be the rotary. Hydraulics may be the two category. One is hydrostatics, another one is hydrodynamics. If the fluid in steady state, then we say it's a hydrostatics. If the fluid is in motion, then we say it's a hydrodynamics. The total energy is always summation of potential plus kinetic and static pressure energy. And there is no pure hydrostatic and hydrodynamic system available. There is no pure system. If the content, the presented content, which content is in maximum, then we say that that system, right? So if the hydrostatic content is maximum, then we say it's a hydrostatic system, right? So for this is another only some basic definition. So one is a density. Density is a mass per unit volume. So m by v. The SI units is kg per meter cube. So it's a density. Specific volume is volume per unit mass, or we can say reciprocal of density. We say it's a specific volume. And specific weight is also known as the unit weight. So the weight per unit volume of your material, it is calculated by density and acceleration due to the gravity. And relative distance. So relative means relation. So if you want to compare with reference, then we say relative density. It is a ratio of reference to the substance to the reference. So relative density or specific gravity is the ratio of the density of the substance to the density of the given reference material. So these are some of the basic properties of fluids. So again, pressure. In terms of pressure, we have three pressures. One is atmospheric pressure, absolute pressure, gauge pressure. So atmospheric pressure is the pressure in the surrounding of air or close to the surface of the earth. This is atmospheric pressure. Absolute pressure means it is relatively measured to the absolute zero pressure. It will occur only at absolute vacuum. So if the system is to be the pure vacuum, that where in pure vacuum, where if you measure the pressure at pure vacuum, then we say it's absolute pressure. So it is measured related to the absolute zero pressure, but absolute pressure should be in absolute vacuum. That is a zero, where zero there is fully vacuum. All calculations involving the gas law requires pressure be in absolute units. So we need to convert all in absolute units. Gauge pressures, it is a difference between system and the surrounding atmospheric pressure. So gauge pressure means generally we use pressure gauges to measure the pressure differences. So if you measure the, I have an object, so I want to measure the pressure difference in the object. So I will insert the device, so which shows some value. That value means the difference between system surrounding pressure as well as atmospheric pressure. So absolute pressure. So that surrounding difference between system and atmospheric pressure. So where the P atmosphere and P atmosphere, absolute and atmospheric pressure. And then viscosity again is the quantity that describes the fluid resistance to flow. Alright, so fluid resists the relative motion immersed objects to them as well as the motion of layers with the differing velocity within them. It is denoted by eta. It is calculated by the shearing stress per area. So stress is calculated by the force per area. Shearing stress to the velocity gradient, right? So again, viscosity index, it is the viscosity of the fluid changes with the change in temperature. So as we know, the fluids depends on the temperature. So sensitive in temperature. So if you keep on increase the temperature of fluids, hydraulic fluids, then some changes will happen. So viscosity will changes. That value is called as a viscosity index. And we know that hydromechanics, we have two parts. One is hydrostatics, another one is hydrodynamics. So hydrostatics means force per area. The object is in steady state. Hydrodynamics means the fluid is in motion. So it is calculated by the kinetic energy called fluid density, flow rate, and velocity. Right. So hydrostatic as well as hydrodynamics. So hydrostatic pressures, hydrostatic pressure is the pressure which rises above a certain level in a liquid owing to the weight of the liquid mass. So generally hydrostatic pressure applicable in our water tank. So in home we have a water tank. It is stored at a particular height from earth. It will store some particular distance. So the hydraulic pressure, where the pressure will occur. So it is a certain level in a liquid owing to the weight of the liquid mass. It is calculated by the product of level of column height as well as density and acceleration due to the gravity. Hydrostatic pressures. Again, one of the important law is hydrostatic paradox. Hydrostatic pressure, simply pressure, it is known for the sort, does not depend on the type of vessel used. Right, so hydrostatic pressure does not depend on the size or type of vessel we use. It is depends on the only height and density of the column of liquid. This is called hydrostatic paradox. So from that figure, you can able to view there are 5 images. One is A, B, C, D. Assume that there are 5 different sizes of vessels we use. According to hydrostatic paradox law, the pressure, hydrostatic pressure, doesn't change irrespective of but the height, if the height will changes, then it will changes, but the shape doesn't affect the hydrostatic pressure. So force exerted by the liquid column A, B, C, D are equal because the height of liquid column are same and force doesn't depend on the shape of the vessel. Alright, so now we go with the Pascal law. So Pascal law states that pressure exerted anywhere in confined incompressible fluids, like it is not applicable in pneumatic, incompressible fluid is transmitted equally in all directions throughout the fluid, such as the pressure variation remains the same. So if we apply the pressure, at in confined or controlled chamber, the force the pressure is transmitted equally in all directions. Generally, it is a right angle to the surface of the surfaces. Alright, so one of the example is if you apply the external pressure in the ball, hydraulic ball, the pressure applied on, at one point of liquid, it transmits equally in all directions. This is what Pascal law, right? So this is a very very important improvement in fluid power, right? So assume that we have a two piston here. One is a piston 1, another one is a piston 2. The piston 1, we both are connected with some pipe, and it is filled with water, right? Assume that we have a two piston and it is connected with the pipe. Both piston as well as pipe is connected with the water. So here I am applying the force is 50 Newton and the area is 10 centimeters or 10 meters square. So force 50 Newton, area is 10. So we know that pressure equal to force per area. So 50 divided by 10, you can get 5 Newton. So you can get the 5 Newton. So here you apply only 5 Newton. As per Pascal law, the pressure is equal. So the 5 Newton is equal to the piston 2 also, because it is connected with the piston 1. So here 5 Newton. So if you calculate the force, the 5 divided by 2, so you can get the 500 power. So here you apply only 5 Newton, but here 50 Newton. Here you can get 500 Newton. This is the one of the multiplication of forces, right? So the pressure is the piston. If you consider the stage at station 1, pressure force per area 50 per 10, it's the 5 Newton per centimeter square. As per Pascal law, it is equal to the piston 2 also. But piston 2 force equal to pressure by area. So pressure is 5, area is 100 centimeter square. Then so you can get the 500 Newton. So here you apply 5, but on the other end you get 500 Newton. So 10 times you can get. This is a multiplication. This is one of the advantages in hydraulics. That's why with the minimal effort we will do the very heavy process. We will do the heavy process, right? So the applications are, one is a Brahma's hydraulic press and hydraulic jack, hydraulic lift, hydraulic brakes, and many more, right? One is a hydraulic lift. Assume that if you want to lift up your vehicle, right, the pressure is exerted on the fluid. So the pressure is equal in all directions. So whatever the pressure you apply, here also it will apply. The force is here you apply. Assume that 550 means here you can get the 500. So the 10 times. So it will easily, we can lift the heavy object. This is one of the examples for Pascal law. The pressure is exerted on the fluid in a small cylinder usually by a compressor. The pressure is a small cylinder must be exerted over a much larger distance, right? So you can larger distance. So again, another one thing, if they increase the distance, then the force is increased more. So distance is directly proportional to the force. So we can raise the heavy object. Again, another one is a hydraulic brake or disc brake. So if you apply the brake pedal, the hydraulic fluids are passed to all the wheels, and it will pass on to the brake pads. So the rotary motion of the wheel is arrested by the hydraulic brake, right? Here we use hydraulic because the force should be the equal in all wheels. Then only the skip won't happen. Vehicle skip won't happen, right? Slip won't happen. So the next one is a Brahma press or hydraulic press. Generally, it is used for compress soft metals like cotton, paper, and cloth. The same principle. So here we apply the some amount of pressure. The pressure is P1 equal to P2. So force, here you apply small force F1, but you can get 10 times, or based on the distance you can get the multiplication of forces. These forces will help to compress the soft metals, right? So the next principle is Bernoulli's principle. Again, it is said that if flow rate is constant, the sum of kinetic and pressure energy must be the constant one, right? So therefore, if the kinetic energy decreases, it must be results in increase in pressures. Likewise, when the cross-sectional area of the flow path decreases, the kinetic energy produces corresponding decrease in pressures, right? So here one of the, this image shows the Bernoulli's principle. The section 1, so here the P1, it is section 1, P2 is the section 2. The cross-sectional area of the pipe is decreased. So due to this, the fluid speed will increases, the kinetic energy, the potential energy is converted to the kinetic energy. So it will reduce the pressure, right? It will reduce the pressures. So this is the Bernoulli's principles. So we know that energy per section 1 both are same, right? Because energy cannot be created or destroyed, right? So another one of the principle is volumetric flow. It is calculated by the product of flow velocity as well as area. Flow velocity as well as area. The next one is a Venturi effect. So the Venturi effect is a reduction of fluid pressure that results in when fluid flows through the constricted section of pipe. This is similar to Bernoulli's principle, right? So based on the Bernoulli's principle only, Venturi effect will happen. The Venturi effect is the jet effect. As the funnel with the velocity of fluid increases, the cross-section area decreases, the pressure correspondingly decreases. This is one of the examples, right? So again, the Reynolds number, right? So this is similar to our fluid mechanics. So Reynolds number. So in 1883, Reynolds he conducted one experiment. So he derived one numberless, right? So or a unitless number. It's a Reynolds number. It is a product of velocity as well as diameter divided by kinematic viscosity, right? So he find one number. So based on this number, we can find whether the motion is laminar or turbulent, right? So if the Reynolds number is less than 2000, then we say it's a laminar. If the Reynolds number is more than 4000, then we say it's a turbulent flow. If the Reynolds number between 2000 to 4000, then it's a transition from laminar to turbulent stage, right? So so this is one of the laminar flow and turbulent flow, right? So the next one is a Boyle's law. This is a gas law. So Boyle's law is an experimental gas law which describes how the pressure of gas tends to decrease, the volume of gas increases, right? So it's a very simple process, which means the absolute pressure exerted by the given mass of an ideal gas is inversely proportional to the volume it occupies if the temperature and amount of gas remains unchanged within the closed system. So it is one of the best example, one of the basic gas law. So assume that you have a closed chamber. In closed chamber, you filled with some air, pneumatics, right? So you apply the force. The top of the closed chamber, we have a piston. So you apply the force on the piston, so the volume will decreases, right? So if you apply the pressure, the volume will decreases, right? So if your pressure will decreases, then volume will increases, right? So this is a main simple principles. So pressure is directly inversely proportional to volume. So again, the volume is it can move from left side. So PV inversely proportional to 1. So inversely proportional is converted as the equal constant with the help of constant K. So PV by K. If we use two states, so P1 V1 equal to K equal to P2 V2. So P1 V1 equal to P2 V2. This is one of the Boyle's law. Similarly, Charles law, it is an experimental law. When this is very simple. You have a gas in a closed chamber. If you increase the temperature of gas, then the pressure will increases, right? So the volume will increases. So the volume of given mass of ideal gas is directly proportional to temperature on absolute scale if the pressure and the amount of gas remains constant. That is, the volume of gas increases or decreases by the same factor as temperature. So if the temperature increases, volume increases. If the temperature decreases, volume decreases. This is the volume is directly proportional to the temperature. Again, it is a inversely proportional constant. So if you want to convert equal constant, we use constant. So V by T. If you use two states, V1 by T1 equal to K equal to V2 by T2. This is comparisons, right? So third law is Gay-Lussac law. So the pressure of gas, fixed mass and fixed volume is directly proportional to the absolute temperature. So if we use constant mass and constant volume, it is directly proportional to the pressure. Then the pressure is directly proportional to the temperature. So simply put, if gas temperature increases, then does it pressure if the mass and volume of gas are held constant. So pressure is directly proportional to temperatures. Again, we convert inversely constant to the direct equal constant. So P by T equal to K. So P1 T1 equal to P2 T2. Right. So the finally one is a combined gas law. So it is combined of all the gases such as Charles law, Boyle's law, and Gay-Lussac law. The ratio between the pressure, volume, and product and the temperature of the system remains constant. So PV by T equal to K. So if it is in two states, then we say it's a P1 V1 T1 equal to P2 V2 and then T2. Right. So this is one of the fluid laws. Okay. Thank you.